Hi everybody and welcome back to Base Camp. Today we're going to be looking at what is the liturgical year. The liturgical year is basically a rhythm in the life of the church. It carries us from Advent, which is the coming of Christ, through Christmas, all the way through Easter season, and even a little bit beyond. There are a few things in between Easter and the beginning of the next Advent season. Most of the information is found in about what days or what fall and which Sunday can be found in what's called a lectionary. Most of these places you can find online. I use the Common Lectionary, which has 3 years cycle, A, B, and C. In a lectionary you'll find readings for any given Sundays. They'll have an Old Testament reading, a reading from the Psalms, a New Testament reading, and a Gospel reading for every Sunday. Some churches use it almost exclusively, other churches don't. It varies widely. The same is true of the liturgical year. Some churches use it to plan their whole year, others maybe not so much. Most churches nowadays at least recognize Advent and Easter, although some don't use Lent. So it's going to vary widely depending on denomination and even in denominations, the local churches. In looking at the lectionary in general, it starts in either late November or early December, depending on what day Christmas falls on, with Advent, which is the first 4 Sundays before Christmas. This is a time of celebration and preparation for the coming of Christmas. In that you can also have a Christmas Eve, or some even have a Christmas Day service. It depends on what denomination you're a part of and what your local church has decided to do. After that, Christmas, there is a Christmas season. Most people think of it as just a day, but it is actually a season. In the liturgical calendar, it's usually the next 2 Sundays. The next one is Epiphany. That starts and runs between the time of Christmas season and ends about this Ash Wednesday, which is in Lent. This focuses on the stories of Christ's divinity. Examples, Jesus' baptism, his transfiguration, and those kinds of stories. Then starts the season of Lent, which begins on Ash Wednesday. Most years, Ash Wednesday falls in February. Occasionally it might fall in early March, but this marks the first day of the Advent season. You've probably at some point have seen people with ashes in the sign of a cross on their forehead. That is traditionally done during an Ash Wednesday service. It just signifies the beginning of the time of mourning as we reflect and head towards Easter Sunday. The Lenten season begins 40 days, not counting Sundays, before Easter. And the exact start date will depend on when Easter falls, and that changes from year to year. And in that is Holy Week, which stretches from Palm Sunday right into Easter. As we get into celebrating and commemorating the last week of Jesus' life on earth. That includes, many churches have even taken to having a Good Friday service, which is commemorating the day that Jesus was crucified. And there are be various traditions depending on what your church has decided to do. And almost every Christian church out there celebrates Easter Sunday. That is universal. That's what Christianity rises and falls on, is the resurrection of Christ from the dead. And with Easter Day, you start the Easter season, which runs from Easter Sunday on into Pentecost, approximately 7 weeks. And then there's Pentecost Sunday, which is, of course, the coming of the Holy Spirit and the founding of the church. There are also a few other not as often celebrated days, like the Visitation of Mary or Trinity Sunday, typically held in November. All Saints Day, which is November 1st, but can be celebrated the following Sunday, which corresponds with All Hallows Eve, which is Halloween. And that is the majority of the Lenten season. At that point, it goes into common time until the Advent season kicks off the next year. Again, it will vary what churches celebrate what and what churches do what. Will vary widely depending on the tradition. Some adhere to it like glue. Others use it loosely. Some use it barely at all. Advent and Easter. So it's not a rule book that says you must do it this way. It is a tool to be used and or not at the local church's discretion. I hope this helps you better understand the liturgical year, and we'll see you next time, and God bless.